Welcome back to the Signal Call over myself and Solo Lopez. We start the show off with a little all 22. We did, an episode on Bo Nix. We did an episode on Michael Penix. And so now we're going to go with the Pac-12 theme here and go with my guy, one of our guys here, Cam Ward. Cam Ward, quarterback from Washington State. Here is his tape against Oregon. Tough environment. He's up against it. This team is just way better than Washington. But he tried to do his best to hang in there as much as he possibly can. You got four wide receivers here. Let's see on the drop back here. Gets some pressure. Nobody's open immediately. Rolls to the right and then throws it back to the left. That's a throw. He does this a couple of times in the game. I would say these are probably throws you don't want to have in the National Football League, but make a play to keep his team in the game. And he is mobile. He's fleet of foot. You can see his movement there with his feet and also the accuracy on the throw with him on the move. Ward back to pass here. Goes up top here. Nice deep ball. Philip Rivers type throw. Like it's not the classic arm slot that everybody likes from their NFL quarterbacks, but that's a Sunday throw. That's a good throw by Cam Ward there for his receiver. Give his receiver opportunity to make a play on the ball and do that. Now here we go with the thing that we all want to see from our quarterback here, and with the Las Vegas Raiders is the ability to move outside the pocket. No more statues or people who are afraid to run. The last two quarterbacks kind of had that. Now you have a quarterback. You want to see the Raiders have a quarterback here where you can, be daring here. Like nobody's open down the field, then fine, go make a play for yourself. Run the football a little bit, and look at this move here to get rid of the defensive end. You get 6-7 yards, and then that's good football right there. Backed up in their end zone here. Just a simple curl route. Just get rid of the ball to get some on time to get some room. And this is followed up by a really good play after a really good play call, a really good rep by Cam Ward. Here we got the little curl or a little stop route, whatever you want to call that. Here and then now, this is one of the best reps in the game from him here because he holds the safety on the other side and then rips one right through the middle here. Boom. I love that. And now you're talking about a drive here, right? Making the change in the line of scrimmage. Look at the head, set the feet, and then let it rip. But you see how low that trajectory of that ball is. Like that's the why I think that it could lead to a lot of batted passes in the line of scrimmage at the next level. So that's something that you want to kind of keep an eye on to see how that happens. More pressure, and look at this dime. I mean, that's a Sunday throw. Like you can't it's not even a conversation about that play. That's a Sunday throw. This is what quarterbacks do on Sundays. This is some Josh Allen stuff right here. Look at this. You get the pressure here. I got away from the pressure, and on the the feet are not even set, and he just flicks his wrist, and it's 30 yards on the field on a dime to the receiver, and they get a huge play out of that, a huge play out of that drive, out of that rep there. Here, I thought this here was a miss right here. I thought a good throw might have got a touchdown here, so I kind of left that one in there. I don't want to make it seem like I just completely, are going to be a homer about some of these plays for these quarterbacks. But this is the one I like here too. A big gain here by the running back out of the backfield. You have him getting a lot of pressure, and he goes sidearm just to get rid of that thing before he gets crushed by a defensive lineman. Boom, and you end up, getting a player, a running back in stride, ready to make a play for you on the offensive side. Here's just the out pattern. You got to be able to throw that. The out is a pass you got to be able to throw in the National Football League. He's able to step back, rip it, and you got the out pattern there. Rolls out a classic rollout here, and then on the money here to give the receiver, kind of a diving catch here, but completion nonetheless. You got a defender sitting there waiting too. So it's not like it's not like it's a horrible throw. You put it where nobody can get it besides your receiver. So I thought that was a solid throw. He could have maybe left it up a little bit higher to give the receiver a chance to maybe take on that defensive back because we know defensive backs don't love to tackle. They don't love to tackle if they don't have to. So you got a flea flicker here. Left this one here because it's an incompletion, but this is a good play. I mean, this is a good rep. He threw the ball right to the running back, and then he just dropped it. So you get they're in the in plus territory. Handoff, handoff. You got the hit flea flicker. He throws it to the right, and then it's just dropped. That's nothing. I mean, you're hoping that is caught from when you start playing on Sundays. We got five wide out here now. Let's see what we got. That's one. He sat down in the zone. I thought that was going to be. That one's on. I think it's on the receiver. That one is a ball. I would say is catchable. Yeah, I would say that's less catchable. But maybe if he holds the ball a little bit longer, he could find somebody else to catch to be open down the field because that he was kind of draped over with two receivers. Well, let's see here. Another time. This is the second time where he runs the ball. He's running the ball to the right. He feels the rush. He's running to the right, and then he throws it back across to the middle of the field. Like that's just like not that's a no in National Football League. So that play is both times they were completions. But I would say that is not what you NFL head coach is going to want him to be able to do. So four wide here. Got three on the left. Let's see what Cam has in store here for this play. Decent protection here. This is the bomb, and this is a really. It doesn't even look like on that big view that it looks like it's even completed. I was like, what was this pass completed the first time I saw it? But it definitely was. And this is a really good throw up the sideline here to give his team an opportunity for more points as they drive on the field. Just really good feet on that one. Receiver stays in bounds. College is only 1 foot, so that's a really good play by really good throw by Cam. Good catch by the receiver. Again, showing that mobility gets tripped up here, but again, like nobody's open. Like the clock is ticking. Let's get something. Let's get something out of it. Let's get something out of this play. Let's not sit here and take a 6 yard, 7 yard sack here. Let's not take a loss on the play. We're still in this game. Again, that's a misplay. Nobody's open, throws that ball away. That one, not a lot of pressure there, though. I mean, that defender is on the ground. You got plenty of time in the half. So that one, I wish we could have seen a little bit more on that play, but it wasn't the best play call in the world. And then roll out right, and you get somebody, and you find a receiver, outlet receiver here, little check down here. Receiver doing a job of making himself available because the initial play called is not there. Everybody's covered. We're rolling to the right. Give your receiver a chance to make a play, and you get some yards out of it. Here we go. Little bunch, and then you get a slant here, and nice. To me, like you always want to give your receiver an opportunity to catch the ball and make a play, and be able to run with it. He sits down in the zone, and then able to turn up the field quickly to get a first down. I think this one here is a series of scrambles here, if I'm not mistaken. So here we go. Yeah, these are the plays that you just keep your legs going and you're able to get some yardage instead of taking losses all the time. It's the modern day of football. You got to be able to move. You got to have that. You have that. Got to have that mobility there. Again, feels the pressure, gets out of here again. Man coverage, sees that as man coverage, gets a first down. And those are the kind of things that you just got to have in today's football. Like you just can't have statues back there. You got the tight end there at the end on a seam pass. Really good throw there. Gives him receiver opportunity to catch the ball without being killed on that play. So good job by Cam on this throw, and then the receiver, has a chance to brace himself before he gets pounded by the safety. And welcome everybody to the glorious episode of the Signal Caller. I'm your host Dwayne Douglas, along with Solo Lopez. Got a lot to talk about and discuss. But first, folks, for those who don't know him, here is Cam Ward.
Ward under pressure, hit, escapes, throws, caught, Farrell, cuts. Ward calls his own number, end zone touchdown. Ward on the rollout, Schlembacher's got it, touchdown. Looking for the corner, it's Williams, it's right there for the home run, touchdown. Cougars there, flat-footed, out to the perimeter, slicing inside and into. Devin Ward's going to get some people's attention this way. Rolling on first and 10, Ward to the end zone. First and 10 snap, Ward.
Cool. So we got to see a little bit of Cam Ward there. Before we jump into that, he announced that he was in Florida. He talked to Florida State, talked to Miami. His brass, his group felt like that was the best opportunity for him to go to the National Football League right now. So that puts him in our crosshairs, I guess, here on the Signal Calls. We can kind of break everything down for him. But before we do that, I think we've done this every episode, so I just want to continue it now. I've had a slot in the rundown just for QB narrative, and we kind of dispel a lot of QB narratives here. One is from I believe that there was a tweet I saw that asked the question, "What has Caleb Williams ever won?"
Oh man,
one of my favorites, one of my absolute favorites is, "What has that guy ever won?" I love that. I don't know, what has Drake May ever won? Does Drake May jump out of the top 20? Is he a worse prospect than Michael Penix because he plays on a worse team? I think that is one of the. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when a quarterback who used to play for the Colts, and I think he played college at Tennessee. He couldn't beat Florida in college, and so what are your thoughts about the narrative that what has that quarterback ever won?
I'm struggling to remember when Texas Tech was led to the national championship by Patrick Mahomes. I'm struggling. Maybe that missed in my mind in one of these areas, or when Andrew Luck led Stanford to those back-to-back national titles. That's the one I remember. That's the one I remember.
Yes.
College football is, you're going to have to really cut through all the BS when it comes to that type of narrative, especially the QB what do you want narrative. There are different people just don't look at resumes and be like, well, clearly Michael Penix is going to be, better than Caleb Williams because look, he won the Pac-12 in the same conference as Caleb Williams. He had a superstar head coach, an offensive head coach that led him there. It's like, okay, there are variables and factors that matter besides that. And I think it matters how you perform. I think it mattered how Michael Penix performed against Texas. I think it mattered a lot. I think it mattered how Caleb Williams performed against some of his better some of the better teams. But the what did he win narrative starting in college football is a little ridiculous, considering guys will develop on the team that they're on, and they're either going to develop the skills necessary to translate into the NFL, or they're not, and they're going to struggle, and it's going to be a learning curve, and it's going to be difficult to transition. And that's why quarterback is the hardest position to play in probably all of sports. even though you have the league that's entirely built for your success, there's a reason why it's so difficult, and maybe 17 guys at any given moment on planet Earth can do it successfully. It
Yeah,
just is what it is.
it is what it is. But I do think it's funny. Luck, yeah, I mean, Luck turned out pretty good. I know that that Peyton Manning guy
Yeah.
who couldn't beat Florida turned out pretty good as well too. So
Sure.
absolutely crazy as far as that goes.
I mean, Drew
just
Brees led Purdue to what?
Exactly.
8 wins max 1 year? I don't know. It's that whole thing is ridiculous. Like, I would take Caleb Williams #1 overall. There's no shocker. It's not a hot take. That's what I think the Bears should do. That's what I think they're going to do. I think all this is smoke and mirrors, and it has nothing to do with what he won or didn't win at either Oklahoma or USC. It's because he's the best player, in my opinion.
I will say this too is like, it is interesting that, and I know it's like he can't choose where he goes. He's the first pick of the draft, but there is only one NFL team that he follows on social media, which just makes it even no more annoying for us because that team is the Raiders. So I think that's kind of it's kind of funny as far as that goes. So
we can only hope he pulls an Eli Manning situation.
I'll take it, dude. It seems
another
like
#1 overall pick who did not lead Ole Miss to a national title.
Exactly. Seriously.
A Super Bowl winning Hall of Fame quarterback.
The list goes on and on and on. Where did Nick Foles go to college? But as far as like, Cam Ward in this episode, I can personally see how NFL GMs fail at a quarterback position because you can look at somebody's film and look at them play and you just start to fall in love with their game. And I have anybody who knows me in Twitter Spaces, anybody who knows me, on the Student Body Right USC podcast or anybody, I hold nothing but high regard for Cam Ward. I like Cam Ward a lot as a player. 23 years old, he'll be 24 as a rookie. 6'2", 6'3", about 225. So, pretty thick as far as that goes. And a lot of places have him projected as a day 2 or day 3 draft pick, which would be interesting to see if that actually took place. And the one place that I saw that gave him a player comp, it was PJ Walker, which is like, which is to me very interesting. I mean, I don't know when exactly they did this, but I'm not sure. But let's dive into Cam Ward here. So Cam Ward, let me get the stats real quick so people can kind of get just so. So we started off
Incarnate Word.
Incarnate Word, Cardinals. Then went to Washington State. He won accolades there with the Cardinals, and then came to Washington State. He had 23 touchdowns passing, and then 5 rushing year 1, and then 25 touchdowns, and then 8 touchdowns rushing. Also, he jumped his passing yardage per play from 6.5 to 7.7. You look at National Football League, everybody is over 7. Like the Brock Purdy's of the world, the Lamar Jacksons, the teams want to throw the football down the field because they try not to run 25 plays because eventually holding, offensive line not holding up, those things like that. So and also 20, 25, and 19 as a starter. Not a solid team, a solid head coach, not a superstar roster or not a superstar head coach there, but he did improve every single year that he played football. What are your thoughts?
He also added 13 rushing touchdowns.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And I think we'll talk about that too, because I mean his comfortability in moving throughout the pocket, I love a lot. What are your thoughts? Yeah. I do think that no offense to PJ Walker and PJ Walker's family and his fans, but I don't see PJ Walker when I watch Cam Ward.
Yeah, for all the PJ Walker fans watching our shows, just take it easy on us. We think that Cam Ward is going to be slightly better in the NFL than PJ Walker. My initial thoughts when I was breaking down some of the statistics and then watching some of the game tape on him, is that I like his delivery and I like his off-script plays more so than I think almost anybody that we've covered so far, like extensively. I think he has a really, really tight delivery when he's into kind of pressure and rolling. When he breaks the pocket, I think his off-script plays remind me. Now, I'm not making this comp, but it reminds me of a guy in Kansas City in Patrick Mahomes, where his off-script plays, he can readjust his body, readjust his feet, readjust his throwing motions, his delivery to get those strikes out of there when he's under pressure and he's rolling out. I think he's constantly looking downfield, which is a really, really necessary trait in the next level. I think he's been forced to be better than he might have been had he gone or transferred to somewhere else. I think I'm going to say outright, I think it's a bit of a mistake that he did not stay in college for a fifth year to go to one of those better universities, because I don't think he was getting anything in terms of support for his particular game at Washington State. I thought their run game was atrocious last year. I thought there was so much on his shoulders that he had to deal with. And I thought their offensive line was really bad. I didn't think it was the right spot for him, even though you can clearly see the potential and the talent and the delivery and the mechanics and the off-script play and the creativity at quarterback that you're going to need that separates the really, really good guys from maybe that 12 to 19 range of quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm not saying he's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, but I think he has a lot of the creativity that you see on tape and a lot of the arm delivery and the mechanics to reset himself during times when it breaks down. And I think that's really essential in today's game, because the offensive line and the quarterback play this year has been really bad under pressure. I think all the numbers are down under pressure for quarterbacks this year. And the defenses have really figured something out versus the quarterback play this year.
I will say this too, is like, I like the fact that this young man had to, we had a quarterback who used to say it's all on me. Him at Washington State, it really was all on him.
It really was all on him. It really genuinely was.
100%. That's what it looks like when it's all on you. I thought like the Oregon game was a great game for me to watch, because it was the Oregon game is like, he's on the road, he's in a hostile environment. They have a really good defensive line. They have pros all over the place, and he's having to make plays, and he's having to drop down and go sidearm. He's having to do all these different things. I'm going to do I like this prospect so much. I'm going to do for the members. I'm going to open up the membership tag here. So if you want to see more of Cam Ward, I'm going to do it in time. I'm going to do the whole game. I mean, really, I just like him that much. And I think it's important for people to see him. I mean, he played in the Pacific Northwest. Let's be honest. Like for folks to have this epiphany about Michael Penix right now just shows you how people don't watch West Coast football. So
sure.
maybe going to the Big Ten for those 4 schools will give them more of an opportunity to do that. But I think the arm slot that some people don't like, you can get some of the negatives. Arm slot's is the release point, and the arm slot is a little bit low. So some folks might say, hey, that's as far as it can lead to batted passes down. I know some people said that he drifts from the pocket. He left when it was real pressure to me in that game. Like it wasn't, and the first guy, I gotta say, the first guy very seldomly brought him down. He avoids that first one, and his head, like you said,
he's strong.
He's strong. His head is still. His head is up. He can make all the throws. He threw a 9 route on the left side of the sideline. That was just like, it was Michael Penix-esque. It was like right in the, you couldn't have walked it to the receiver any better. I love that. I love that play. There's so much to kind of go. I like the prospect. I think he is at the latest. I think he's the second rounder. Like I don't think I can see somebody maybe in the bottom of the first. I know it's a high projection, but like I think once you get to the combine, once you get to his pro day, you get to see a little bit more about the arm strength, the ability to move, the accuracy. There was a free rusher. a free rusher coming right at him. He slides to the right, and then he's dead sprint to the right, and then throws to the running back who does a complete who he completes the ball to on the right side, and it's like it's all in one. It's all it looks fluid. It's no herky jerkiness with it. Like the guy is very comfortable with being a moving facilitator of the football, and
Yeah.
and to me that's what I like about him the best. I don't know, like this one report is saying that his arm is decent, not special. Like I would say it's, I mean, I don't know about decent. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's Caleb Williams. I'm not gonna say it's Drake May. I'm gonna say it's like probably in that class right below. But as far as accuracy goes, accuracy has been improved so much. It's like night and day. I like the prospect a lot. I mean, like I said, this is how GMs get in trouble. They fall in love with a guy. I do like the player a lot. I just feel like there's an opportunity here for a good team to maybe, even if you're a good team and you have a guy who's on his way out, Saints, something like that. You want to go and get in that category, like you have a veteran quarterback and like the Minnesota Vikings, something like that. Maybe you want to just kind of beef up your team in the first, get that first round pick, and then hey, in the second round, late second round or early third round, let me go take a look at and revisit Cam Ward, because I really think that his skill set really can translate to the National Football League. I don't see why this guy couldn't be a star down the road.
We definitely don't want to see Cam Ward in Denver. I'll say that much. Where with the team that needs a quarterback with, unless he's wearing silver and black, then we'd love to see him in Denver. This is one of the things that people are going to point to, and it's one of the things that I saw necessarily is like what happened from the first 4 games of the season to the remaining rest of the season. Because you look at the first 4 games of the season, and Cam Ward looked like the number 1 overall pick in football. I mean, let's be honest, like he was putting together unbelievable games, and I think his best game of the year was the Oregon State game, and I think it was followed immediately by the start of their losing streak by his worst game of the year against UCLA. And so I tried to figure out, okay, what happened? What went down from those first 4 games? Because you beat 2 top 25 ranked teams in Wisconsin and in Oregon State, and one of them was on the road. So like you look at his game in that first part, and you say, okay, well, what happened? It's tough to lose 6 games in college football straight if you have that type of quarterback. It just is. And so you gotta try to figure out, is that going to be the thing where too much was put on his plate and he crumbled, or he got nowhere near the support that he needed to be able to be an effective player down the stretch of the games? And that's going to be really important for general managers to figure out the answer to that. In my opinion, I think too much was put on his plate. I think they relied on him far too much down the stretch. They had no running game to speak of. I think he ended up with minus 300 and something yards for based on sacks alone throughout the entire year. Minus 300 yards just on sacks, which is a gigantic number for what it is. But when you see him play and you see him create and elevate, you see a guy that has the ability and has the talent to play at the next level. And that's what I see. I think he's got the size. I think he has the smarts. I think he has a great delivery mechanics. I think his off-script stuff is really good. I think his intermediate and deep passing is good. I think he has a good arm. I wouldn't classify his arm as decent. I think he has a really good arm. I just based off his delivery, I think he can get the ball into places that he needs to go. Into tight windows. You saw that all throughout the tape, even during the losing streak. You saw that. And so I think that's going to be important for people to distinguish, and that kind of dispels that whole "what did he win at Washington State" narrative type of deal. What did Cam Ward ever win to be able to be a guy? But it's like that again, that quarterback narrative is ridiculous for college football players. Joe Flacco is clearly winning with the Browns right now. He won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. He was a Division II quarterback. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But with Cam Ward, I think that I think you're right on the money with the second round pick. I don't think he sneaks into the first. I think there's going to be too many people that see what happened this last year and feel like there's going to take a really, really strong quarterback minded team, a really strong quarterback minded head coach that's going to have to take him early, that sees that dispels the losing streak, that dispels that maybe he didn't have, or there was too much pressure on him last year before he transferred or before he attempted to transfer and then declared. And then maybe, we'll see the mechanics, the delivery, the intangibles that we get from his coaches and his players and his teammates and all the inside information, and make an educated decision based on that.
Also, I'm gonna go through some of the games that he had to kind of overcome here too. You look at Washington. There's this their rival, Washington State rival is Washington. They went at Washington. 12, 30, they were 11-0 at the time, 8-0 in the conference when they played them. He had to throw 30. He threw 48 times, 300 yards. Had 2 picks, but 3 touchdowns in there as well. Couldn't really solidify a running game because that was 27 carries on 64 yards. So that's
Yeesh.
so that's kind of what you're alluding, kind of what you're talking about. I thought that he played. Let's go back to one more. I want to go a couple more games here real quick because I saw the whole schedule. I remember these games vividly, so I'm just trying to go back. But I do remember that one. But I remember that game in particular where they came very close to beating them. And then I know the UCLA game. UCLA had a top 10 defense in college football. They actually ran their defensive coordinator, who is now the USC defensive coordinator, is from the Ravens school, the defense that everybody loves.
Sure.
Lalu Latu, whatever. Lalu's last name is Latu. He's one of the top defensive
yeah.
ends.
It's like Latu.
Yeah, I just call him Latu because I don't know. Maybe I get it right, but like as far as that goes, so they hung in there. They hung in there on the road against Oregon. So like I'm not gonna make. I'm not because it sounds like when you. And it lost the game on the road to also to Cal too. So whenever I'm making the case for him to be, a guy who gets drafted second or third round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to make it seem like I'm making an excuse for him. I mean, Washington State is not Washington, Oregon, or even Arizona. The Arizona Wildcats turned out to have had a great year this year. I'm going 10-3 as well. But to your point too, like things can all fall apart in the college football season.
Sure.
I mean, his team went 5-7. Caleb Williams' team went 8-5, and Caleb was going to be the first pick in the draft. So it can all collapse. And I know that for Caleb it was more like he can handle so much, but it's like literally he would score a touchdown or throw a touchdown pass, and before he could sit down and drink water, the defense was so bad that they gave up a score in 90 seconds. Like it was that's what it quote unquote looks like when somebody has no defense. Like I know that's been an excuse for some from Raider fans about certain other quarterbacks, but that's what it looks like when you have no defense. When you're giving up when you look at the nation and you see in Connecticut and Temple how rated higher than USC defensively last year. So I tell no lies. I tell no lies. I tell no lies. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, they were getting up. I mean, he was going. I mean, Caleb was going toe for toe with Michael Penix, and they lost that game 52-42. Like a home game, exactly. So that's how that works. So, but like I said, the prospect is. I think he's a good one. If the Raiders were stuck in that moment, and I hope they don't get stuck in that moment where everybody's gone, they couldn't move up, and it's time for BPA. Like that's where you might have to go as far as that goes.
Yeah.
But you might have to. But he's gonna. But then again, I don't know if he's gonna be ready to play in 2024, and they kind of need somebody who can play in 2024. Like they cannot run it back with a QB who's just not ready.
Yeah. This is going to be a situation where you're going to see some general managers make the panic reach, whether a player is ready or should be taken there or not. I'm not necessarily saying that would be Cam Ward or any other number of players, Bo Nix or JJ McCarthy or any of these guys that might fall in that back half range. but I think it's going to be really imperative to get the evaluation correct. And I know that's tough to say as for a quarterback is probably the hardest position to evaluate, considering there's so many variables that go into playing quarterback, so many variables of success, so many variables of failure on any given moment for the quarterback that it's so hard to like see what you're seeing. It's so hard to put that onto paper and then from paper to translate that into, does it work to our system? Does it work with our coaches? Will he work with our support? Will he work with our receivers, our running back, our offensive line? There's so much that can go wrong and go right for a player to just be, the guy moving forward. And so I think, especially as we saw this year, it's going to be really, really tough on general managers that teams are looking or needing a quarterback, because as we saw this year, I mean, like I said, we were watching Case Keenum play. We were watching Nick Mullins play. We watched Jaron Hall play a half of football. One of the worst things I had ever seen. I could not. Yeah. That's like, I like Kevin O'Connell for the Vikings. I like him as a head coach. You like him. We love his play calling. We love his ability. But if you can't see that Jaron Hall was never going to be any kind of anything, then he shouldn't be A, on your team, or B, ever being played into a meaningful football game, because that was horrendous. There is no excuse to put a guy like that out there in the NFL level. No excuse. It's like putting the guy out there from the Jets who started the game, Aaron Rodgers' friend, whoever that guy was. Yeah. I don't even remember his name now.
I know.
But it was like a fifth-string quarterback. Like, there's no way under any circumstances that he should even be playing preseason, let alone an NFL meaningful game. And so, like, that's the state of the quarterback play this year. So it's going to force a lot of general managers to get really crazy with this quarterback thing, because I think I stand by it. I think 6 or 7 guys are going in the first 60 picks. 7 guys, I think, will go in the first 60 picks.
It's gonna be. I mean, and the Raiders have to be one of those people. I think
they have to be.
I think you're almost. If you're in a situation like that with the Raiders, like, let's just say somebody trade up a somebody say the top 4 guys. Williams, May, Daniels, Penix are all gone. Like, to me, I'm gonna draft Bo Nix, and just hope that like,
if they land at 14,
if they land at 14, if those 4 guys are gone, I'm not taking BPA. I'm gonna take Bo Nix, and I'm just gonna say
take the quarterback.
Yeah. Take the quarterback, and then just try my best to, and then at least that way, you don't have to worry about like having them. You have all your picks. You didn't trade a bunch of picks for somebody else. I kind of like doing that, opposed to just walking away with saying, "Oh, golly shucks, let me go make a bad trade for Russell and add Russell Wilson to this mix, or add." Sure. Or try to overpay Baker Mayfield to leave Tampa Bay or something like that. Like, I'd rather get that guy in there, and then let him play. I mean, I know maturity wise he can handle the maturity of being an NFL quarterback. I don't know. I mean, we just have to make sure that has all the pieces around him to be the best possible quarterback he could possibly be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think and I'd like to get on board and get on record officially on video record so people can see it. Justin Fields is a catastrophic mistake if they go in that direction. And I'll say it flat out. You don't want a guy that you have to pay in a year. You have to accept or decline his 5th-year option the second you trade for him. You have to figure out if he's a good quarterback and works for your team. And if you figure it out that you're trading capital for him and you end up being wrong, now you're stuck in the same spot you were, but then you've added a year of Devontae Adams, you've added a year of Max Crosby. Now that goes the same with drafting a rookie quarterback, but the difference is you're paying a rookie quarterback on a rookie scale for 4 years before you have to do anything. So you have the latitude to be able to make that decision and make that evaluation on a rookie quarterback. You do not, however, have the latitude to look at a guy who has not been very good this year. People keep showing me the first 17 games versus the last 17 games, and all that information is incorrect. I keep telling people that that whole meme of his first 17 starts versus his last 17 starts is all wrong. It's subjected into like week whatever. It's like you're taking the best parts of a guy's game versus the worst parts of his game and trying to compare it like it means anything. I got newsflash. It doesn't mean anything. his consistent play over the course of the last 3 years has not been that of a guy who should be given the reins to a franchise and be paid immediately to do so. You're kicking that problem down the road, and then you have to decide whether or not you want to pay a guy like that. And it's not worth it to me. He's not a great quarterback. He's not the guy that I want for the Raiders. I want to draft a rookie quarterback because by the time Michael Penix has 3 years in the league, he's going to be better than Justin Fields. And he's probably better than Justin Fields right now. And I'll go out on record and say that. If Justin Fields goes on and proves me wrong, fine. Let someone else make the $180 million mistake and be like, wow, he gave us one good year. Let me pay him like we're paying Daniel Jones. I'm sure the Giants are really happy that Daniel Jones got them that playoff win and that now they're paying him $160 million over the next 4 years. I'm sure they're ecstatic about that. You know who's not ecstatic about that? Me, if I was a Giants fan.
So you'd probably
and that's the mistake that you can make.
Yeah, so you probably only have to give up like a third and a fifth, a third and a sixth, because the Bears are not trading. People are like, oh my God, you're crazy, you're smoking crack. I thought a third round pick for Justin Fields. Well, the Bears aren't trading from a power position. Like they're not.
Yeah.
We know, like if you're the Bears, I'm the Raiders, and I want Justin Fields. I know that you're not going in the trading camp with Drake May and Justin Fields.
Yeah,
I know that.
Their literal time limit. Their literal time limit is the draft. They have until the draft. Exactly. You know they're on a clock. So you can either not trade for him, force them into drafting the quarterback number one, or force them to make a decision. You're forcing the Bears with your own leverage by just saying, I'll wait it out. We'll see what happens. If you trade him to Denver for a second and a fifth, by all means, like have fun. If that's what you got, that's what you got. I'm glad you did. But you're the leverage that other teams have by just not making the decision for the Bears. It's kind of like the Ravens situation last year. Nobody was willing to go out on a limb and do the Ravens work for them. This is the same scenario. I think it's 100% chance that they're drafting a quarterback number one. I don't think there's any possibility that they don't draft a quarterback and they keep Justin Fields and just build around Justin Fields. That is an absurd notion to me. That is a fireable offense for anybody in this situation, because I'm not. It's not even a hot take. Caleb Williams is better for any organization than Justin Fields is. Flat out, 100%. It's not even debatable.
But he's never won a big game, and he paints his fingernails, though. You know.
Yeah. What does he ever want? I guess.
Yeah, dude. Like the whole camp with Cam Williams things. I would say this: like, just say you hate the player. It's okay. Like if you don't like him, just
they don't like him.
Like when you're on social media talking about Caleb Williams, if you just say I don't like him, dude, I have more respect for that than you making up foolishness. So what would be an acceptable completion percentage for a starting NFL quarterback?
Right now in today's league,
yes,
I think league average is 65% right now.
Okay, so he's at
55 is good.
It's good. So 60. So he's at 50 first year. 58.9, 60.4. This year was 61%. And right now, I mean, for a career, he's around 60% of a passer.
Yeah.
When I watch him play, and I watch, you can't watch. You have to ignore the highlights. Okay. When you watch him play, you have to ask yourself, like, is it's not about the every play. It's about the highlights. Like if you love highlights, then yes, he's gonna have a couple of highlights here and there where he just does something amazing. But it's the every play where he's missing receivers, where he's not. I mean, like the hard work is there. Like he's getting better. Like that's taking care of the football better. But like, do you want to overpay for good, or a little bit below average? Like he's not the full quarterback, and he's not like fully like a Cam Newton type either. Like Cam Newton would get you over 30 touchdowns. A lot of times like 40 touchdowns in a season just by either running or passing. Like in the combination. He doesn't really push the bill like that. Like I mean, he had 8 rushing touchdowns last year. 4. It's hard. Those rushing touchdowns are hard to come by. Like what I mean. Yeah. The passing the ball through the air is the easier way to do it. I liked him coming out of college. More and more, the more and more I look at his game, I'm not ready for the Raiders to just go ahead and just go get him. I mean, in a desperate situation, I mean, go ahead. If they get him and they have no plans on trading him, and they have no plans of going past the 5th-year option.
Yeah.
Then I could say, hey, you know what? We struck out all these quarterbacks. Everybody, we could come up with a deal. You want to go do that? Let's do that. We trade for him. We have no intention of ever doing it. He has to have like a Cam Newton 50 touchdown year for us to actually consider him in that class. I think that's the way you have to go with it. With the guy Justin Fields. I don't know if I know DJ Moore has really good numbers, but
DJ Moore's a really good wide receiver.
Yeah,
what are you gonna do? Really good wide receivers get their numbers regardless.
We see that with Devontae Adams, right? I mean, no matter who the quarterback is, those guys are going to get their numbers. So
DeAndre Hopkins is the perfect example of that. That guy was like had 1,500 yards with I think he had it with Case Keenum. I think he had it with one of the third like undrafted guys. And then one other guy, and then like he had like 1,500 yards and like 15 touchdowns one year, and he had 3 quarterbacks who barely even started in the NFL that whole year. I think he had a broken down Matt Schaub at one point. Like it was rough. But like really, really good receivers get their guys. They get their numbers. They get open. They force a will. They get their numbers.
Yeah. I'm looking at I'm just giving like a guy who would be comparable maybe skill wise would be Cam Newton, but like I'm looking, but even these years, like he just had, I mean, you know, for his first year he had 14 rushing touchdowns, so he was a cheat code by himself, and then you know whatever, but like it's just always his worst year was having 4 touchdowns. I mean, the year when New England he had 12 rushing touchdowns. Like I get it. You're going.
Cam Newton was exceptional in the red zone. Like
passing or running. Yeah, he was.
And Justin Fields is not. I don't know how much more like you need after that. Like if you want to make the comp, you have to see what the red zone numbers are. Because Cam Newton in the red zone was like it's like Josh Allen in the red zone. Like he's really, 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 really tough to stop.
Yep.
And I don't see that same ability from Justin Fields. I like Justin Fields. I haven't given up on him to find a team to be successful in the NFL. But I'm not willing to trade capital in this draft unless I'm trading capital up to get a rookie quarterback, flat out.
So I would say this:
go
look at the All-22. What the Browns did to him, and I know the Browns are a high-level defense, but like that's where you want to go. Like you know what I mean? You want to be able to contend and beat those kind of teams. So if you can't do that, then
the Niners are a high-level defense. Look what Lamar Jackson just did to them. Yeah. So like I mean it's your best performance on tape, you know, is against who and why and what happened in those games and like what you know how did you perform against those situations? Like that's what we talk about. It's not necessarily about wins and losses. It's how you perform. If you perform really well against a team like that, it's not and everybody's going to blame the quarterback, justifiably so. The league is built for you to win. You paid the most money out of any player on the team. You have to perform. You cannot be the inconsistent guy. You cannot be the guy that's like, well, I was really good against the New York Giants, but I was really bad against Philadelphia, you know, and Dallas and San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you start putting together performances like that against quality and key opponents, and it doesn't have to be a 400-yard or a 4-touchdown game. Did you play effectively and make an impact on your team to win against teams like that? And if you don't, you're just going to be a mid-tier guy, maybe overpaid. You know, generally overpaid because there's 5 guys in the NFL right now that are massively overpaid. You know, the Raiders have one of them in Jimmy Garoppolo. It's like you like if the ship has run its course on you having those types of contracts and because your performance is so bad on the field, then that's what's hamstringing a lot of these teams. Is that you get the notion that the idea that, well, anybody can be Aaron Rodgers and play into his late 30s and play effectively, or Tom Brady or Drew Brees. And then you start to see these guys really struggle on different teams.
Yep.
So
getting back to Cam, I would say that I'm looking at a late 2nd round, 3rd round grade on the player. I think that he has the opportunity to be a really good pro. I don't think he'd be ready to. One thing is I don't know if he'd be ready to play right now. Maybe late in a 2024 season when things are not. Clearly, your veteran quarterback is done. kind of one of those things. Like give him a couple games at the
Yeah.
end of the season to see where you're at. But I mean, I do like the ability. I do like his head up. His head up is always he can always move. And he's shown that, and I think you'll see in the All 22 before the show. Like I pulled a bunch of plays, but the one where he is looking at the 9 route, he's looking at the outside and he's holding that safety and then flips his hips and then it gives you something right down the middle.
Yeah.
That's big time stuff. And Oregon is a very good defensive football team. So it wasn't like he did it against scrubs too. So and he never has he's never been on an even playing field with his opponents. So it'd be interesting to see like him coming out now could be a thing where, you know what, maybe he gets to go to a Minnesota, maybe he gets to go to a team
Yeah.
like that has the ability to kind of support him and has a really good play caller and a really good guy who, you know, does a good job with NFL quarterbacks and stuff like that. So
Yeah. So creativity as a runner for a quarterback is one thing. Creativity as a passer is a whole nother skill that some players have and some players don't. How many times did we see our former quarterback run off to the right, point downfield, and just incomplete the pass or throw it at someone's feet? Or start pointing down the field when he breaks the pocket and just launches it as far as he can out of bounds or something like that? How many times do we see something like that? That is a player that doesn't have creativity outside as a passer. That after his first or second read breaks down, it's either check down or I'm throwing it out of bounds somewhere. Yeah. The creativity of the passer that Cam Ward has is really, I think, exceptional off script. I really, really, really am highly touting his off script plays because I just think that the teams that he's been on has created a necessity for him to build that skill up because he doesn't have support in the run game to be able to make those chains. So if it's first and down or it's first down and first and 10, you know, his off script plays are going to get him those 6 or 7 yards past the chase because you know that the running game is not going to be there. So a lot of these teams are going to play against him where it's the opposite of stacking the box. They're going to stack the back half of the field because it's going to be like, well, we don't have to rush a lot. You know, we can just we can make this guy uncomfortable because we know that they're not going to run against us. We know what they're going to do. Yeah. They don't have the personnel to be able to overload us and beat us by 50 points on offense. We just have to take away certain aspects of that. And some of that falls on the shoulders of the quarterback, and the rest of it, I think, falls on the shoulders of the support staff and the running backs and the wide receivers in that situation as well. I just really, really enjoy watching him run out the pocket and reset himself and reset his mechanics and his feet and get the ball downfield. I think he's really, really good at that. I think he's a good passer. I think he's a good arm. And yeah, my projection there would be I think he slips to well, I wouldn't say slips, but I think he can go as far back as the early as the 3rd round. And I think as high as the early 2nd.
Yeah. And I almost would be a team like I think if you drafted a Michael Penix and you're worried about the injuries, if you did have a 3rd or 4th round pick and maybe he dropped a little bit, maybe you double up as well. If you're an NFL team. So one negative is like a lot of times he was running to his right and then he would throw back into the middle of the field. Although in the Oregon game, all those plays were completed, but in the NFL, those are going to be pick sixes. Like you can't. So
there's turnover decisions that you have to monitor and try to fix with him.
Yeah. He also handled just the regular blitzes very well in the Oregon game, and also the new thing where everybody likes to try to rush 3 and drop everybody else in coverage. Did a good job of recognizing that and finding open receiver. As far as that goes. So anything else on Cameron Ward?
I just on the final, I thought it was slightly a mistake for him not to transfer. I thought it would have been best for him to do so, but I think that you can develop that guy into a pretty decent quarterback. I think that he has the skills and hopefully he has the work ethic and the attitude to be able to sit maybe for a year and learn behind someone else and then get ready to really take the reins. I think he has mechanics and I think he has the ability. I think he has the arm talent to be able to make an impact. But I think he's going to need a lot of support coming into the next. If he's going to play early, I think something went wrong and with the team and he's not going to play well. I think it's going to be one of those situations where you want him to sit and you want him to be the guy that sits behind the bridge quarterback.
You know, I mean, even with that being said, too, and I think the only like I use corporate talk. The only pushback that I would give, because I hate corporate talk. But I would say is that maybe in a situation like this is like if you can bring him along slowly, give him pieces of the offense as you keep going, and then like maybe it's a little bit easier for him. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying college football is not as NFL football is harder than college football, but he's not having to do every single thing. Like, you know, if he goes to a team that has a running back that has like ability to kind of help him out, has a big tight end to throw the football to, and you know because he can make all the throws. He can make all the throws. So I think I just see how that works out as well. So signal
There's
caller.
a lot of responsibility for him to succeed last year, and it was maybe just a little too much.
Yeah, no question about it. So signal caller, part 3. We did Bo Nix. We did Michael Penix. People are DMing me that I had to do a update to Michael Penix. So maybe I'll think about doing an update to Michael Penix.
Why? What happened between the last episode we did and now?
They were like kind of like a 5-minute thing where like people were like, you know, did my thoughts change because of the Texas game? I'm like, you know what, guys, like the only thing he did in the Texas game that was different was he ran the football more. Like everything else is like I've seen that, unfortunately, be on the other end of those rainbow deep passes, but I've seen him do it all year. Like he's been phenomenal. I'm a West Coast football guy, so like I don't know. I see all the quarterbacks.
The over the shoulder 20 yards downfield in full stride for Rome Odunze on the sideline is one of the prettiest passes we've seen all year against Texas.
And
that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
People are talking about the laser between two defenders. I think the over the shoulder pass to Rome Odunze was his best pass of the night.
And you mentioned his motion and like how, and I think people are just saying that, like, you know, he has no leg drive, but how does that affect him? It doesn't really. Now I'm looking back, it doesn't really affect him. So he's just so used to doing it. So we'll see. All right, folks. Thank you for joining us here on the Signal Caller. Another quarterback. So we got more to come. You know, we brought up an interesting name. He's not next, but Mike Pratt is an interesting name. You brought up our text a little bit. So that's an interesting name.
I'm starting to do a little tape on him, man. I don't know. Like I'm starting to see some shine over there in Tulane.
Yeah, should be interesting. Well, we got a lot of quarterbacks to go. It's only January and the draft is in April, so we got time. All right, Ray Nation and NFL fans everywhere. Peace.
Travis will throw, lobs it deep, and wide open is Johnny Wilson inside the 40. Wilson wrapped up at the 30. Touchdown saving tackle by. First down and goal from the 4. Florida State looking to go up 2 scores here. Travis wide open, back in the end zone. Touchdown, it's Preston Daniel. On the 40-yard line with Jordan Travis in the game at quarterback, and he'll throw it. Jaheim Bell comes free, breaks a tackle at the 15. Another tackle, dives for the end zone. And down at the half-yard line. Play clock at 2. Travis, end zone, wide open, touchdown. Keon Coleman has Florida.